This girl is extremely pitiful because she worried about her boyfriend's career. She went to jail for him for 5 years, but when she got out, her boyfriend turned around and betrayed her. So Yu-young decided to take revenge on him. But why did this girl blindly believe her boyfriend's words like that? The story goes back 5 years ago when Yu-young and Dun had been in love for 7 years. During these 7 years, Yu-young worked tirelessly to earn money and support her boyfriend while he studied for the civil service exam. Regardless of the weather, she worked hard without complaining. In the morning, she worked at the toll booth. In the evening, she drove a rental car. In her free time, she took care of her lover's parents. Dun's parents also loved her very much. Everything changed the day Dun officially passed the civil service exam and became a prosecutor. His mother, now seeing a girl without a stable job like Yu-young, believed she was unsuitable for her prosecutor son. She constantly tried to find new partners for him. But Dun knew that his success was partly due to Yu-young's great efforts. When he couldn't afford tuition, she took care of him, even lending him the car he drove to work. Dun disobeyed his mother and officially proposed to Yu-young. Just when Yu-young thought all her efforts had paid off, their car had an accident. Dun went to check for a long time. Worried, Yu-young got out and was pulled back by him. Dun said they only crashed into a drum, and looking around, it seemed true, so Yu-young had no doubts. She suggested calling the police, but Dun said he had drunk a little alcohol and would be in trouble, so Yu-young agreed not to call, unaware that they had hit a pregnant woman. Dun saw that the woman was dying but ignored her to avoid trouble. That woman's boyfriend, Minu, the son of a wealthy tycoon, was heartbroken when he saw his wife and unborn child in pain. He asked the police to find the culprit. The next morning, Yu-young naively took the car for repair. The police also extracted the camera footage and identified 3 cars that passed by the road where the accident occurred. Because Yu-young was the owner of the car, the police came to find her. They asked if Yu-young had been in an accident last night. Yu-young admitted and explained everything. Because her prosecutor boyfriend had been drinking, she didn't want him to get into trouble, so she naively admitted that she was the driver. The prosecutor in charge of this case was Dun. This bad guy lied to Yu-young, saying he didn't see the girl at all and thought they had simply crashed into a drum. Yu-young completely believed him. They had been together for 7 years, and Dun couldn't lose his prosecutor position because of this, so she decided to plead guilty for Dun with the charge of unintentional manslaughter. Dun promised that he would try his best to get Yu-young a light sentence. The next morning, Yu-young still woke up early to help with the bakery with her father. Meanwhile, Dun did not go to find the victim's family to reconcile. He threatened that if he didn't do justice fairly, he would make Dun lose his position as prosecutor. Although he felt very sorry for Yu-young, Dun did not want to return to poverty, so he decided to let her take the blame for him. After having enough evidence, the police demanded Yu-young's arrest. Seeing his daughter being taken away by the police, Mr. Wong was extremely surprised and scared. He went to find his son-in-law and learned everything. Mr. Wong tried to collect money from everywhere and ran to the victim's mother's house to apologize. He knelt down and asked for forgiveness, but Mrs. Hong could not accept how much pain her daughter was in while lying in the cold rain. She wanted the culprit to pay for their wrongdoing and threw the money back at Yu-young's father. At this time, he was like a lost soul and fell down very quickly. Yu-young's trial also took place, and the prosecutor proposed a 5-year prison sentence for defendant Yu-young on the charge of murdering a pregnant woman. The inmates also hated her, so on the first night, Yu-young was brutally tortured by them. After a health check, the doctor discovered that Yu-young was pregnant. She quickly gave birth to a baby boy in prison. Because she didn't want her prosecutor boyfriend to be infamous, she raised the child on her own, even though it was very difficult. San is her living motivation out there. After the big shock, Yu-young's father was no longer conscious and couldn't take care of himself. Dun still tried to come regularly to take care of him. One day, a charity group, including Dun, came to visit. He deliberately took a lot of food for Yu-young and did not forget to look at his son. Seeing that Yu-young had reformed well and had to raise another child, the prison asked for amnesty and allowed her to be released early. Knowing this, Minu was very angry. His lover and son had died unjustly, but the culprit was pardoned after only serving 2 years. So he made an appointment to meet Dun and said that if he voted against the pardon, Minu would promote him to a better position. On the other hand, if he voted in favor, Minuk would make him lose his position very soon. The pardon was also approaching. Yu-young urgently apologized for her wrongdoing and promised that when she was released from prison, she would find the victim's mother to ask for forgiveness. She would also try to live well to take care of her son and her sick father. However, when she returned to prison, the guards discovered bruises on her son's body. They suspected she had abused him and took Sen away. Yu-young was scared and called Dun for help, not knowing where they had taken her son and asking him to find him. Minnick was very satisfied with Dun's disapproval vote and even gave Dun a nice watch as a gift for his wise decision. After 3 years, Yu-young was officially released from prison. Dun came to pick her up, and Minnick was very angry when he saw their reunion. The first person Yu-young wanted to meet after getting out of prison was her son, but what she received was her son's death notice. Dun said that San died due to sepsis and that he had hidden it from her all this time to prevent her despair. Dun then took her to visit San's resting place to say goodbye. Yu-young now felt like a lost soul, unable to believe the cruel truth. Dun's mother also came to comfort her, advising her on the surface to try harder and think more positively, but behind her back, she scolded her son to be careful and not waste time on a girl with a criminal record. At night, Yu-young bought a cake and went to the river, reminiscing about the short days with her son. Minnick watched these scenes from afar. Since Yu-young went to prison, her father had suffered from dementia. To pay for her father's medicine, Yu-young had gone everywhere to find a job, but for someone with a criminal record, it was not easy. While Yu-young was in despair, a phone call came in offering her a job. The caller was Minnick's assistant. Not only that, but Minnick also invited Dun to a party to humiliate the two of them. Minnick went with his fiancée, Seon, whom he was about to marry. Dun also saw Yu-young and, not wanting to lose face, chased her away. He then went to socialize with peace of mind. When Yu-young returned home, a group of creditors came to demand money. To treat her father's illness, her family had fallen into debt and even their house had been sold. The current homeowner was Minnick, who asked her to move out within 3 days. Knowing this was the lover of the accident victim, Yu-young did not dare to ask for anything more. In this difficult time, Dun didn't know but was busy comforting his old friend, the rich lady Seon. With no relatives or money, Yu-young had to take her father to Dun's house to ask for help. Of course, Dun's mother was extremely upset and scolded Yu-young, as she originally wanted Dun to cut off his relationship with her. Luckily, Dun's father said a few words to help her. Yu-young visited the victim's mother, who immediately poured water on her and chased her away. Despite this, Yu-young bowed her head and asked for forgiveness. That night, Yu-young returned home, and Dun also helped take care of her father. He still had feelings for Yu-young, so he moved closer to her, accidentally revealing the burned scar from when she was abused in prison. Dun was heartbroken, but Yu-young said that she no longer felt pain. Dun, visibly shaken, placed his hand on her wound to comfort her before going out to drink with his father. His father advised him to stop their relationship because if they stayed together, they would both suffer. Thinking about their lost child, they would look at each other and live in sin. The next day, Yu-young's father got lost. Dun told her to go to the police while he drove around looking for him. Eventually, Dun found him. Suddenly, he admitted that he knew Yu-young went to prison instead of him. The person who caused the accident and escaped was Dun. He feared that Yu-young's father would threaten him, so he had a bad idea in mind. Yu-young, unaware of this, searched for her father all night. The next day, she received a phone call saying her father had been found. Yu-young ran out and encountered Minnick. It was late, making it difficult to catch a taxi. Knowing her father was in trouble, Minnick kindly offered to take her. When Yu-young arrived, she found her father lying there, his body cold, legs covered in blood and bruises. Yu-young's heart felt like it was being squeezed. Minnick stood there and suddenly saw how pitiful she was. Due to being caught in a lawsuit scandal with Congressman Kim, Dun was on the verge of being fired. Yu-young's father's funeral quickly took place, but it was empty, attended only by 2 friends she had made in prison. The next day, after burying her father, Dun arrived when Yu-young needed him the most, but he was nowhere to be seen. Realizing what was important to him, Yu-young proposed a breakup. She didn't want them to continue tormenting each other. As if untying a knot in his heart, Dun remained silent instead of agreeing. With no relatives and no home, Yu-young stayed at Hara's house, who had helped her a lot in prison. Seon had loved Minnick since school, but he only loved Ji. Even though Ji had been dead for many years, Minnick still missed her with all his heart. Seon felt her self-esteem would be hurt if she didn't have him. She decided to make men suffer. Today, she gave Minnick a contract stating that their marriage would be in name only and that they would not interfere in each other's private lives. Yu-jong also discovered that her debts had been transferred to Minnick's name. She rushed to find him to ask questions. Minnick said that he wanted to become her creditor so he could easily torment her. Seeing this, Yu-jong left him her phone number, promising that she would pay off the debt at all costs. Now, Dun doesn't care about Yu-jong anymore. He went to the art office and flirted with Seon, knowing that she was his ticket out of poverty. The rich girl could help him escape his old life. The next day, Dun officially resigned from his job as a prosecutor. He told his parents that the state salary was too low and that he had endured all kinds of suffering and torment. He didn't want his parents to work hard anymore. After that, he applied to be a lawyer advising Mr. Han, one of the richest tycoon families. Dunn took out a stack of documents he had collected during his work, which would help Chairman Han grasp the weaknesses of his opponents. Seeing this, Mr. Han was extremely pleased and immediately agreed to accept Dunn into the company. Minnick saw all of this from above, noting that Dunn was indeed a shameless guy. Since entering the company, Dunn had continuously looked for opportunities to approach Sean, even though he didn't love her. Minnick didn't want her to be involved with someone like Dunn, so he constantly tried to separate them. Seeing this, Sean defended Dunn, which made Minnick angry. Tonight, Dunn gave his parents a large sum of money to open a store. They were very happy because he was working at a big company. On the street, Yu Zhang accidentally encountered a former prisoner who had reported that Yu Zhang had abused her son, causing their separation. After hearing that her son had died, the former prisoner was extremely regretful. She had only followed orders, as a man had promised to help her get out of prison early and take good care of her son. Hearing this, Yu Zhang immediately thought of Minnick, as only he hated her so much. After reviewing old clues, Minnick realized that on the night of the accident, Dunn and Yu Zhang were together. Minnick sent a gift box to Dunn. After seeing the photo, Dunn's face became scared. Although the case documents said Yu Zhang was driving alone, Dunn was afraid there might still be evidence kept somewhere. He went to the police station to review the case file, not knowing that all his movements were being reported to Minnick by the police. After checking the CCTV, Dunn discovered that on the day of the accident, a car had passed by and filmed him going out to repair the car. That car belonged to Chairman Han's group. In the evening, when there was no one around, Dunn sneaked into the corporation's supervision room and found a video recording of him driving that day. He happily deleted it immediately. Meanwhile, after learning that her son was indirectly killed, Yu Zhang sympathized even more with the victim's mother. Although she was not the culprit, she still tried to ask for forgiveness. Yu Zhang came to work for the victim's mother every few days, and gradually, the mother's harshness softened. Everything Yu Zhang did was watched by Minnick. Under the pretext of helping Sean with work, Dunn went to her private office. Seeing that Dunn had fallen asleep, Sean kindly covered him with a blanket. When she did, Dunn grabbed her hand and confessed his feelings, asking what he must do to be worthy of her. Feeling awkward, Sean immediately turned away. Seeing this, Dunn packed his things to leave. Minnick's secretary arrived at the location in the photo. On the day of the accident, Dunn had booked a party to propose, and the boss remembered it clearly. They had taken many souvenir photos there. After confirming this, Minnick angrily grabbed Dunn's collar. He said he would definitely expose Dunn's true nature. Sean didn't know that Dunn was the real culprit, so she even helped him. The next day, Minnick came to find Yu Zhang and urged her to tell the truth, but she insisted on taking the blame to protect Dunn. She didn't regret her decision and hoped Minnick would forgive her. Regarding the debt, she promised to pay it off gradually. Seeing her determination, Minnick decided to give her more time. With the help of a friend, Yu Zhang found a job at a restaurant, unaware that the owner was Minnick. He didn't want her to feel uneasy, so he only watched her from afar. When Dunn learned that Yu Zhang was working at Minnick's restaurant, he worried that they might get close and Yu Zhang might reveal the truth. He told her to quit the job, but Yu Zhang, knowing how hard it was to find employment, ignored him. One day, a police officer visited Yu Zhang, suspecting her of trademark fabrication. The restaurant manager, not wanting any trouble due to her criminal record, fired her. Meanwhile, Minnick discovered that Dunn had secretly deleted the video evidence. He instructed the staff to mention casually that any recording from the past 5 years could be restored. Dunn, falling into the trap, broke into the surveillance room to delete the data again, only to be caught by Minnick. Minnick confronted Dunn, who tried to explain he needed the data for a meeting, but Minnick found it amusing. Minnick directly challenged him, determined to uncover whatever secrets Dunn was hiding. Dunn claimed he had nothing to fear because he was innocent. After finding out where Yu Zhang had moved, Minnick visited her and asked her to return to work to pay off her debt, threatening to sell her father's bakery if she refused. Yu Zhang, valuing the bakery as her most precious possession, reluctantly agreed. The next morning, Yu Zhang returned to work, facing gossip and resentment from her colleagues. Ignoring their words, she focused on her job. The restaurant hosted a new dish tasting session that day, attended by Sean and Dunn. When Minnick saw them, he asked Yu Zhang to leave, but she decided to stay and fulfill her responsibilities. Sean made sarcastic remarks to Yu Zhang, and Minnick intervened to help her. Dunn privately confronted Yu Zhang, accusing her of trying to embarrass him. She explained that she was working to repay Minnick's debt, but Dunn, unsympathetic, told her that seeing her made him sick. Realizing his true nature, Yu Zhang left disappointed. Seeing Minnick support Yu Zhang made Sean uncomfortable. Minuk clarified that their marriage was just a contract and she shouldn't interfere in his affairs. Feeling tired, Yoo-jong took out her father's shirt for comfort and found a purchase receipt from the day he died. She rushed to the shop, where the owner confirmed that her father often bought cakes there and that Dun had picked him up that day. Knowing what had happened made Yoo-jong's face pale. Minuk then asked her to come work at his house. The cleaning job was straightforward, and Mook's sister appreciated Yoo-jong's cooking skills. After finishing her tasks, Yoo-jong suggested returning to the restaurant to work. However, Mook wanted her to rest, so he made an excuse, saying he wanted to know the ending of a novel and asked her to summarize it for him. Yoo-jong complied with his request. Meanwhile, Dun was also trying to win over Seon, but she only saw him as a friend. The next day, Yoo-jong went to Mook's house to work and accidentally saw his signature. Only then did she realize that it was Minuk who had taken her to the hospital and paid the fees when she fainted, not Dun. Minuk woke up, and Yoo-jong, feeling awkward, explained that she was only taking the blanket to the laundry. After work, Yoo-jong informed him that she would return to the restaurant the next day as she didn't want her colleagues to bear the burden of her absence. Upon returning home, Haun was waiting for her. Haun couldn't sleep, tormented by the death of her son, and promised to live in remorse for the rest of her life. At this time, Dun also came to see Yoo-jong, suspecting she had spoken to Minuk since Minuk was reinvestigating the case. Unable to bear it any longer, he accused Yoo-jong of being the driver and tried to shirk all responsibility. Yoo-jong was shocked and wanted to confirm if Dun was with her father the day he died. Dun nervously explained that perhaps the landlady had been mistaken. After he left, Haun revealed that it was Dun who had asked her to separate Yoo-jong and her son. Devastated by this revelation, Yoo-jong went to the bakery and discovered there was CCTV footage. The next morning, Sister Hera took her to the police station, claiming the car was broken, and requested to check the CCTV recording from that day. After seeing Dun appear in the footage, Yoo-jong completely broke down, realizing the person she had sacrificed everything to protect was responsible for her son's and father's deaths. Returning home, Yoo-jong was filled with regret and self-blame. Minuk came to comfort her, sharing that he, too, had lost someone he loved and had used revenge and hatred as a means to continue living. He encouraged Yoo-jong to follow his example to overcome her pain and promised to help her take revenge on Dun if she told the truth about that day. However, Yoo-jong did not want to revisit the past and bring up the old story again. The next day, Yoo-jong confronted Dun, but he coldly called security to remove her. Refusing to give up, Yoo-jong ran in front of his car, forcing a confrontation. She mentioned the recording she had seen, but Dun was unfazed, admitting that he found her father annoying and blaming Yoo-jong for not taking proper care of him. He suggested she should have put him in a nursing home. Angrily, Yoo-jong demanded that Dun stop the car. Instead, he accelerated, and during their struggle over the steering wheel, they narrowly avoided an accident. Finally, Dun stopped the car. Yoo-jong pulled him out, forcing him to kneel and apologize to her father, who had treated Dun like a son. Dun shouted defiantly that he had no regrets and claimed she lacked the evidence to incriminate him. Yoo-jong vowed to bring him down, ensuring he would lose everything and be forced to beg for forgiveness. Meanwhile, news broke that Minuk's father was in the US for surgery, causing the group's stock to decline. Minuk was furious when he learned about this from the press, but his secretary explained it was the chairman's decision and urged Minuk to lead the company strongly in his father's absence. Dun, however, didn't hold back and deliberately leaked company documents. Though Mook was enraged, he had no evidence to act against Dun. Unbeknownst to Mook, Seon was orchestrating these events to make Minuk rely on her for help. On the other side, Yoo-jong dedicated herself to creating new sauce recipes day and night to help Mook secure an investment contract for the restaurant. Having made salad sauce with her father since childhood, she had plenty of experience. Mook was deeply grateful and felt fortunate to have her support during this difficult time. The next morning, news emerged that the recording had been recovered. Dun hurried to check it, only to find Minuk waiting for him. The recording clearly showed Dun driving, but he boldly claimed it wasn't filmed near the accident scene and thus proved nothing. Seeing Dun's panicked demeanor as he left, Minuk felt satisfied. Enraged, Dun went to Yoo-jong and berated her, accusing her of confessing to the crime voluntarily and telling her not to torment him with the past. Yoo-jong, filled with resentment, advised him to enjoy his time while he could, as she would be the one to bring him down. That night, Seon also instructed Dun to prevent President Yang from signing a contract with Minuk at all costs. The next morning, when Minuk and Yoo-jong arrived, they found that Dun had already gotten there first. After trying the restaurant's new sauce, President Yang was very satisfied, but Dun made disparaging remarks, highlighting the lack of internal unity. Dissatisfied, President Yang told everyone to go home and that she would make a decision later. Coincidentally, it was Minek's birthday. Yu Jong prepared to bake him a cake, and everyone present wished him a happy birthday. Despite the simplicity of the celebration, it was the warmest birthday party Minek had ever experienced. The next morning, Yu Jong brought a box of cakes with the new sauce to give to President Yang. The night before, her restaurant received a request for home service from none other than Cian, who had organized a birthday party for Minek just to annoy him. Seeing how much Yu Jong was suffering, Minek asked her to leave, but he thanked her for the box of cakes, as it convinced President Yang to sign the contract. Hearing this, Yu Jong happily congratulated Minek, a scene witnessed by Cian. Cian sarcastically accused Yu Jong of killing Ji. Despite being upset, Yu Jong chose not to explain and decided to leave, but Minek quickly chased after her, leaving Cian extremely angry. Cian, who had known Minek since childhood, recognized the way Minek looked at Yu Jong as a lover. When Minek brought Yu Jong home, he couldn't hide his emotions and kissed her. Yu Jong initially resisted but eventually accepted the kiss. The next morning, Yu Jong told Minek to forget about the previous day, but Minek insisted that what he did was not a mistake. After work, Yu Jong visited her former colleague at the toll booth, asking her to help take a photo of Dun's car on the day of her father's accident. Fortunately, the surgery went smoothly, and President Han returned to Korea. Upon hearing about Minek's affair with Yu Jong, he asked his assistant to bring her to meet him. He thanked Yu Jong for helping Minek secure the contract but made it clear he didn't want her to associate with Minek anymore, as his son was to marry Cian. Seeing Yu Jong humiliated by everyone, Minek angrily pulled her up. Embarrassed, Yu Jong apologized and left, with Minek chasing after her. However, Yu Jong refused to open the door for him. Minek promised not to repeat past mistakes and vowed to protect Yu Jong, but she didn't want that. She wanted to forget the past, but every time she saw Minek, the memories resurfaced and tormented her. She believed that if the incident hadn't occurred, Minek would have been happy with his wife and children. Seeing her in such pain, Minek was heartbroken and decided to leave, asking Yu Jong not to torment herself anymore. The next morning, Yu Jong went to the toll booth to get documents proving that Dun had taken her father out of town and then returned alone. Angry, she went to Dun's company, but her accusations didn't scare him. Dun challenged Yu Jong, saying she wouldn't get what she wanted. At night, when Yu Jong returned, Minek was waiting with hurt and resentment in his heart. Despite everything, Yu Jong agreed to go for a walk with Minek. Only he could bring her peace of mind now, and she desperately wanted to be with him, even if only for a short while. She was willing to be with Minek despite the recent scandals. Meanwhile, the company needed someone to stand trial for recent scandals, and Secretary Kim volunteered. Before heading to court, he went to see Minek. It turned out that the chairman had never fully trusted Dun and had collected documents about him. Secretary Kim handed these documents to Minek, instructing him to use them when necessary. Upon reviewing the documents, Minek discovered that Cian and Dun had been cooperating for a long time. Furious, Minek confronted Cian about it. She didn't deny her actions, explaining that everything she did was because she loved him. Cian wanted Minek to realize that with her, he had everything. However, Minek bluntly apologized and rejected Cian's feelings. During this time, Yu Jong also went to Dun's restaurant. Despite Dun's mother's objections, she insisted on entering. Yu Jong placed down the documents she had prepared in advance. Just as she was about to reveal everything, Dun appeared and quickly pulled Yu Jong outside. He threatened her with harsh words, but Yu Jong was no longer the weak person she used to be. Finally, Yu Jong made an appointment to meet Dun again in court the next morning. Minek also brought documents to court to threaten Dun. It turned out that since Dun had joined Minek's company, he had been involved in many illegal activities. Minek gave Dun a chance to turn his life around and redeem himself, but Dun showed no remorse. He then went to find Sean, and the two of them devised a reckless plan together. After a tiring day, Minek returned to find Yu Jong again. Just being quietly together, all the storms in their hearts seemed to disappear. Based on the documents Yu Jong left behind, Dun's father confronted his son about what had happened. He hadn't expected Dun to become such a cruel person and advised him to change his ways. However, Dun was stubborn and no longer listened to his father's advice. Despite his apparent fear now, Dun came to Yu Jong, knelt down, and apologized. Yu Jong saw through his insincerity. He was only afraid of losing what he had. Seeing this, Hera intervened, pouring water and chasing Dun away. The next morning, Yu Jong went to court to submit evidence, and Dun showed up to threaten Minek with documents alleging embezzlement of public funds from Mook's company. Dun also kept the phone so Yu Jong could hear everything. He then offered to exchange the evidence for Yu Jong, but Minek urged her to trust him and proceed with her prepared plan. Yu Jong chose to trust Minek, despite knowing that Sean had helped Dun. Minnick was deeply disappointed and even considered annulling his marriage with Sean, but President Han disagreed, believing that only marrying Sean could salvage everything in the current situation. The following day, Yu Jong and Dun were invited to confront each other. Dun stubbornly denied the evidence Yu Jong presented. Outside, his former colleague warned Dun not to underestimate Minnick, as he might be digging his own grave. News stations reported that Minnick had accused Dun of embezzling $6 billion from the company, revealing that Secretary Kim and Minnick had planned this all along. Minnick had given Dun a chance, but Dun hadn't taken it. Minnick wanted Dun to understand that climbing high also meant potentially falling hard. However, Mook's company still faced unavoidable losses, causing its stock price to plummet and investors to turn away. They were teetering on the brink of bankruptcy. Chairman Han pleaded with his son to save the company, the place where he and Minnick's deceased mother had spent their youth building. He believed that only marrying Sean could salvage everything. Mook's stepmother also met with Yu Jong and asked her to let go of Minnick. She suggested that if Yu Jong did so, Minnick wouldn't lose his career. The next morning, Yu Jong arranged to meet Minnick. Though they didn't discuss it outright, both knew that this would likely be their last day together. They spent the day doing things they had never done before, cherishing their time together. Minnick didn't run away or avoid the situation. Instead, he chose to kiss Yu Jong's scars, a silent gesture of understanding and sincerity. The following morning, Minnick woke up to find that Yu Jong had already left. Despite his deep love for her, he couldn't keep her by his side. Quietly, he proceeded to a wedding photo shoot with Sean. Meanwhile, Yu Jong visited the restaurant and asked for leave from work. On another front, the press approached Dun's parents to inquire about the embezzled money. Yu Jong intervened, exposing Dun's true nature to the press to prevent further discussion. Dun's mother then revealed a shocking truth: Sen was still alive. She had forged a death certificate so that Dun and Yu Jong could sever their relationship with each other. Currently, Sen was being cared for by a kind family, unbeknownst to Dun. Seeing how much she loved her son, yet was instrumental in separating Yu Jong from him, Yu Jong was deeply angered. She demanded that the woman return the child to her. The next morning, Yu Jong went to see San, but the boy no longer recognized her as his mother. She cried bitterly, and even Dun was deeply saddened by the scene. Later, when Dun returned home, the police arrested his mother for forging a death certificate for someone who was still alive. In the detention center, she pleaded with Yu Jong to spare Dun, hoping that revealing the truth about San would make Yu Jong forgive everything. However, Yu Jong was no longer naive. She wanted the woman to experience the suffering her father had endured. San's adoptive mother also came, begging Yu Jong to let her continue caring for her son, as she couldn't bear to be separated from him. She promised to explain everything to San when he was older. Yu Jong went inside and saw that San was being well cared for. When San returned from school, he saw his mother crying and defended her, asking Yu Jong to leave. As a longtime friend, Minnick asked Sean if she had ever been truly happy. Despite achieving her goals, Sean admitted feeling miserable. Minnick comforted her, showing his caring nature. The next day, Yu Jong visited San again, introducing herself as his aunt. Seeing that San no longer harbored resentment towards her, Dun could only watch from outside, regretting missing out on the most wonderful things in life. He sincerely apologized to Yu Jong, while Hera blamed her for making such a mistake. However, Yu Jong asserted that she hadn't given up on San but couldn't force him to live with her. His happiness was paramount. Soon after, Sean decided to cancel the marriage and pursue her dream of studying drawing abroad. Minnick also chose to study at an overseas branch to develop the company. Before leaving, he cleared debts and returned to the bakery for Yu Jong. Upon hearing this, Yu Jong rushed to the airport but chose not to interfere. The two silently passed each other. Sean thanked Dun for his support and wished him well before departing. Dun's trial proceeded, where he admitted to all his crimes. Justice was served, though belatedly, and Dun faced the consequences of his greed. 5 years later, Yu Jong successfully restored the bakery, and Minnick returned. It was clear that they would be together, moving forward towards a brighter future. The movie concluded, thanking the audience for their attention and bidding farewell until the next videos. Goodbye and see you next time.